Thank you, thank you.
Welcome to the Carbohydrate Counting and Diabetes Conference. We're going to be learning all about how to effectively control diabetes by counting carbohydrates. When people think of diabetes, they often think of the old prohibition against eating sweets. Today's dietary guidelines are not quite as strict, but in a way they can be more complex. These guidelines are, number 1, eat a variety of healthy and nutritious fruits and vegetables. Number 2, reduce fat and protein to reasonable amounts. And number 3, balance carbohydrate with insulin and exercise. The first two relate to good eating habits and discipline, while the third determines most of the blood sugar control related to eating. Over 90% of the carbs we obtain through starches and sugars end up as glucose that make their way through our blood to our cells. Carbohydrate counting is all about maintaining this balance. Carbohydrate counting is well worth the effort when you realize the impact it has on your overall health and the control that you have on your health. In order to learn how to carb count effectively, you'll need to know what carbs are, what grams are, you need to learn how to count carbs, and you'll need to know how many carbs you need. So to start out, let's talk about what are carbs and where can we find them. In order to know how much carbohydrate to eat, you'll need to know which foods contain carbohydrates and which have enough that makes it necessary to count. Carbohydrates are found in foods such as grains, which are breads, pastas, and cereals, fruits and vegetables, root groups such as potatoes, sweet potatoes, and yams, beer, wine, and some hard liquors, desserts and candies, most milk products excluding cheese, and foods like sucrose, fructose, and maltose also have carbs. Now in a healthy diet, most carbohydrate would come from nutrient-dense foods, and complex carbohydrates like whole grains, fruits, legumes, vegetables, non-fat and low-fat milk, and yogurt. They contain a high volume of vitamins, minerals, fiber, and protein in proportion to their calorie content. These micronutrients allow glucose to be processed correctly and prevent the development of carbohydrate craving. They also tend to be lower on the glycemic index. Low-nutrient foods like candy and soft drinks contain carbohydrates, but lack the other nutrients that your cells require for health. Because they contain simple or refined grains, they are high on the glycemic index and are more likely to cause the blood sugar to spike. They may be eaten in small amounts, but nutrient-dense foods like brown rice and broccoli are better for both your health and your blood sugars. Now Ellyse is going to tell us about the relationship between carbohydrates and blood sugar.
How carbohydrates affect blood sugar. When you eat carbohydrates, your body breaks them down into sugars. The sugars are absorbed into the bloodstream, and in response, the blood sugar levels start to rise. The pancreas releases a hormone called insulin. The insulin helps take the sugar from the blood and put it into the cells, where it can be used as energy to fuel your body. Some carbohydrates affect blood sugar more than others. Processed grains such as white flour and white rice raise blood sugar more quickly than whole wheat or brown rice. Refining a grain strips it of the nutrients and fiber and makes it easier to digest, whereas fiber helps slow down digestion so that sugar is released more slowly into the blood. Carbohydrates are the main nutrient that affects blood sugar, and this is why counting carbohydrates can be helpful. Foods that contain no carbs. There's meats such as cow, pork, lamb, fowl, which include turkey, chicken, duck, and goose. Seafood such as moss, like clams and oysters. Shellfish, like lobster, shrimp, and crab. Fresh and saltwater fish, like catfish, bass, and salmon. Game meats, organs of animals, and eggs. There are condiments and seasonings that contain no carbohydrates as well, such as oils like olive oil and peanut oil, salt, vinegar, and many hot sauces, yellow mustard, whole olives, butter substitutes like margarine, cheeses such as Parmesan and cheddar cheese, regular mayonnaise, heavy whipping cream, butterhead lettuce, and beverages that contain no carbohydrates include zero-carb beverages, artificial sweeteners, gin, rum, vodka, and whiskey, water, coffee, and tea if nothing is added to them. Understanding what foods contain carbohydrates can make carbohydrate counting easier.
Thank you, Ellyse, for that. Kelly, what are the blood sugar target ranges that we should be aiming for?
The blood sugar target ranges that a person should have for a pre-meal would be for a normal person be less than 100. A person with diabetes should range from 90 to 130. After a meal, the normal range should be less than 110. With diabetes, a person should be less than 180. Now I'm going to go over the effect of known facts about some of the one needs to know about carbohydrates and blood sugar. Sugar has no greater effect on blood sugar than complex carbohydrates. All carbohydrates are considered fairly equal as far as affecting blood sugar. Sugary snacks are often termed empty-calorie foods. Eating even amounts of carbohydrates throughout the day can help control blood sugar. There are two types of carbs, simple carbs and complex carbs. Simple carbs are foods such as fruit sugar, corn or grape sugar, and table sugar. Complex carbs are foods that contain 3 or more links, such that carbohydrates create blood sugars, and that where the problem starts for people with diabetes. Because carbs raise blood sugar, managing your carbs is the key to managing your diabetes. One way to manage is through carbohydrate counting. When you eat carbs, your body breaks the food down into the glucose, which enters the bloodstream. The more carbohydrates you eat, the more insulin your body needs to help convert the food to energy.
Now Holly is going to explain how to read food labels.
Okay. So in order to count carbs, you need to know how many carbs equals 1 serving. So 1 carb serving equals 15 grams of carbs, and a lot of people don't know how much of a food is exactly 15 grams. So for some examples, you have your fruits, which is 1 small apple, banana, orange, or nectarine, 1 medium fresh peach, 1 kiwi, half of a grapefruit, a cup of fresh strawberries, raspberries, or blueberries, or a tablespoon of jelly or preserve. As for starches, you can have 1 slice of bread, an ounce or 1/4 of a bagel, half of an English muffin, 3/4 of a cup of cold cereal, 1/3 of a cup of cooked brown or white rice, half of a cup of cooked pasta, half of a cup of corn or sweet potatoes, or a 3-ounce baked potato or sweet potato. An example of a starch would be a bag of chips, which if you look at the food labels, under total carbs, this has 38 grams of carbs, so this would be about a little over 2 carb servings, so maybe not the best thing you should have. An example of a vegetable, which would be 5 grams of carbs, so 3 of these would equal 1 carb serving, would be a half of a cup of cooked vegetables, which can include carrots, broccoli, zucchini, or cabbage, a cup of raw vegetables or salad greens, or a half of a cup of vegetable juice. As far as proteins, they don't have any carbs. So the best proteins to eat would be turkey breast, fish fillet, tuna, cottage cheese, egg whites or egg substitute, fat-free cheese, or beans. And an example of a protein, tuna. If you look at the food label, it says the total carb would be less than 1 gram, so it's in the 0 category. And another example would be cashews, but they do have some carbs, which is 8 grams. far as milk products go, these have approximately 12 grams of carbs, which would be 8 fluid ounces of milk, or a cup of plain yogurt or soy milk. Fats also have no carbs, which is butter, oils, margarine, mayonnaise, cream cheese, sour cream, seeds, avocado, or salad dressing. But some people don't know that sugar-free products don't exactly mean carbohydrate-free, and same goes for the no sugar added products. And as far as sugar alcohols, they also contain carbohydrates and calories, so you have to watch for that. And for Cokes, you really have to watch out for these because the carbohydrates is 39 grams, and the sugars is also 39 grams, which not good. And so a better choice would be vitamin water. If you look at the total carbs for this, it's 13 grams, but the serving is also 2.5 servings in the whole thing, so it adds up. And so you have to just make sure that you read your food labels.
Thank you, Ellyse. Those are some really good visuals. Now Desmond is going to tell us about what portions we should be eating, and he also has a trick for measurement.
Like Holly was saying, watching your portions are very, very important. A 20-ounce soda, it has approximately 20 teaspoons of sugar, which is equivalent to 100 grams per 20-ounce container. And that is equal to 8 2/3 servings of carbohydrates. So you can see, us as Americans, we drink multiple 20-ounce sodas a day, and it's easy to see why we have such a bad health outlook. The soda actually has an average of nearly around 400 calories per 20-ounce container. But the bad thing is it's completely refined sugar. So it goes directly to your bloodstream, spiking your glucose levels. So you must read your labels very carefully. You can splurge, just don't kill yourself. The estimated annual cost of treating health problems caused by obesity and overweightness, which is fueled by carbohydrates and empty calories. You're eating more unhealthier foods, and at the end of the day, you're gonna pay for it. To put things into perspective, the average serving sizes for a chain store bagel is 3.9 to 5 ounces. The recommended is 2 ounces. The average restaurant roast beef sandwich filling is approximately 3.9 to 7.9 ounces. The recommended is 2.5 ounces. Cooked pasta, the average restaurant serving is 2.6 to 3.3 cups. The recommended amount is half a cup. Portion sizes have increased 2 to 5 times greater than the original packaging. The original Hershey's chocolate bar was 0.6 ounces in 1908. Now it's 1.6 to 8 ounces. The Burger King hamburger sandwich, 3.9 ounces in 1954, now 4.4 to 12.6 ounces. McDonald's soda, it originally was 7 fluid ounces, in 1955. Now it's 12 to 42 fluid ounces. And the Coca-Cola bottle was 6.5 fluid ounces in 1916. Now it's 8 to 34 fluid ounces. And to kind of give you a visual of how much something is, you can use your hand. This thing that's connected to your arm. Yeah, this. The fist is 1 cup. A cupped hand is half a cup. Your palm, which is best used for cooked meats, is approximately 3 ounces. Your thumb, which would be best used for salad dressing, peanut butter, is 1 tablespoon. The tip of your thumb is 1 teaspoon, which is better for your fats, your butter, your margarine, your mayonnaise.